Chapter 2251. At this time, there were many people in the courtyard of Zhao Yun'er's house. The most shocking thing was the arrival of the county magistrate's family. The county magistrate was sitting in a large carriage. The carriage stopped in front of the courtyard of Zhao Yun'er's house. The county minister was dressed in casual clothes, but he still had an extraordinary aura. He had an unparalleled majesty. Perhaps he had been an official for a long time, so he naturally had this aura. Behind the county magistrate was a woman in a silk dress and a child. The woman wasn't very old and she was very beautiful. The child was fair and cute like a porcelain doll. Although the crowd did not know the identity of the county magistrate, they knew that he was definitely not an ordinary person. Ah, the people from the third branch are so powerful. What kind of important person came to hold a wedding? Looking at his clothes, I know he is not an ordinary person. He should be a rich person from Yang City. Ah, isn't this the county magistrate? I saw him when I went to Yang City for a lawsuit. Xuanzi, don't make a mistake. This is the county magistrate? Are you sure? I said I saw him. I can't remember how he looks like, but how can I not remember this county magistrate? This is the person who came, I'm sure. After hearing Xuanzi's words, he looked so sure. It did not seem like he was lying. The crowd frowned and thought, could it be true? If the person who came to attend the third branch's wedding was the county magistrate, how influential would the third branch of old Zhao's family be? It was rare to see a big family holding a wedding in Yang City. How many people could invite the county magistrate? However, these people were curious about the relationship between the third branch of old Zhao's family and the county magistrate. How could they be so influential to invite the county magistrate? At this time, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were entertaining other people. The relatives of the Liang family came, so Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao had to greet them and arrange their seats. When they heard that the county magistrate was coming, they hurried out of the house and greeted Zhao Yun'er at the same time. Zhao Yun'er handed over the matters in the kitchen to the others, and temporarily went out to receive the guests. Sir, madam, you are here. Thank you for your hard work. You must be tired after such a long journey. Hurry up and sit down in the house. Have a rest and have a cup of tea. The county magistrate and his wife nodded casually. It's okay. We are not tired. You don't have to entertain us. Just treat us like others. After all, your family is so busy with the wedding today. We've troubled you by coming over to join in the fun. Madam, you're exaggerating. It's our family's fortune to have you and Milord here. We couldn't ask for more, so how could we find it troublesome? Hurry up and sit down in the house. The table and chairs and tables have been prepared. The county magistrate and his wife answered with a smile and then went into the house. Lan Xuanda excitedly pulled Zhao Yun'er's hand. His face was soft and cute, but with a bit of grievance he said to Zhao Yun'er, Sister Yun'er, you haven't come to see Xian'er for a long time. Xian'er missed you so much. Chapter 2252. Lan Xin's eyebrows moved slightly. Finally, he nodded heavily and responded, well, but sister, if you have time in the future, you must visit me more often. Zhao Yun'er saw that Lan Xin was sometimes so sensible that she felt sorry for him. She immediately agreed, if sister has time, I will definitely visit Xian'er. At that time, I will bring little sister with me. Okay. She invited the county magistrate and his family to sit at the table and then made them a pot of tea. In addition, she asked Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao to get some peanuts and melon seeds. If they felt bored, they could eat something to pass the time. The county magistrate's family was not so particular, so Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were relieved. They thought that it would be difficult to entertain them. They didn't expect that the county magistrate's family was so easy to get along with, as Zhao Yun'er said. Miss Yun, you don't need to care about us. Just go and do your own things. The county magistrate's wife smiled slightly and let Zhao Yun'er and her family go. The more attentive they were to her, the more reserved she felt. Originally, she came out today to relax and join in the fun. If there were too many people around her, she would feel uncomfortable. Well, sir and madam, if you need anything, you can call us at any time. Okay. Zhao Yun'er went back to the kitchen to continue cooking. The third branch's couple entertained the others. Early in the morning, Zhao Wenxing and Jin Suizhuan came to Shuilan village from the town. When they arrived at Zhao Yun'er's house, it was already past 8 o'clock. There were also many people gathered in the courtyard of Zhao Yun'er's house. The other branches of old Zhao's family wanted to join in the fun. This person came to the third branch's house early in the morning. Now that the farm work was finished, except for the women who had to do the housework, the men were all idle. Seeing Zhao Wenxing and Jin Suizhuan come back together, Zhao Wentao was pleasantly surprised and said to old Zhao's family, "Ah, fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law are back. I haven't seen them for a long time. Ah, fifth brother hasn't been home for a long time. Today we are holding a wedding at third brother's house. Otherwise, I don't know when I can see fifth brother." Zhao Wenhua nodded and responded. Her eyes were filled with tears. She said excitedly, "Yes, I haven't seen fifth brother for a long time indeed. This time he's finally back. Our Zhao family can finally be reunited today. Yes, it's rare. It's really great. Let's go and have a chat with fifth brother. We haven't seen each other for so long. We need to have a good chat." Compared to the excitement of Zhao Yunlong and Zhao Wentao, the rest of the Zhao family did not have much of a reaction. Xuanhuan, on the other hand, had a gloomy expression on her face. She seemed very unhappy as she reprimanded Zhao Wentao and Zhao Yunlong. "He abandoned our whole family for a widow, and now he still knows to come back? Anyway, I'll pretend I didn't give birth to this son. I get angry just looking at him. And that widow, she's so cheap. Her man is dead. She doesn't do anything else but hang out with men outside. Our old Zhao's family is unlucky. One of the few scholars was killed by her." After Xuanhua's scolding, Zhao Wentao and Zhao Wenhua were embarrassed. Chapter 2253. Zhao Wenhua also tried to persuade her. "That's right, mother. Fourth brother is right. Fifth brother and fifth sister-in-law finally came back. Aren't you making them feel awkward by giving them such an expression? How can they continue to stay here? We're a family after all. What's so big that we can't get over it? Fifth brother isn't a child. He's an adult. The decision he made back then wasn't made on a whim. It's already like this. We should give our blessings to fifth brother and fifth brother instead of making a scene like this. Mother, fifth brother is your flesh and blood. It's been so long since you were angry. Your anger should have subsided by now, right? Now that fifth brother is back, it's equivalent to taking the initiative to deal with you. Take this opportunity to reconcile. Don't keep being in a deadlock. There's still a long way to go. We can't not be a family anymore, right?" Zhao Wentao and Zhao Wenhua spoke one after another. Xuanhua's face darkened and she didn't say anything. It was a bit difficult for her to forgive Zhao Wenxing all of a sudden. She just couldn't get over that hurdle in her heart. She had painstakingly raised this child and even specially provided for his education. How could he abandon their old Zhao family for a widow? He had studied for so many years in vain. He had no future at all. No wonder people said that once a man got a wife he would forget his mother. It was true. Zhao Baoshan, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. He said in a somewhat weary voice, "It's indeed not easy for old fifth to come back. Anyway, things can't be changed. Don't bring up old scores today. It's a peaceful and joyous day. Our family should be happy. Don't make a scene and let others see us as a joke." Xuanhua responded weakly with an unhappy look on her face. At this moment, Zhao Wenxing had already helped Jin Suizhuan to old Zhao family's courtyard. Zhao Wenxing had not seen his family for a long time. He had a different feeling in his heart. There was a touch of embarrassment on his face, but the corners of his mouth twitched, revealing a smile, and he braced himself to greet these people. Eldest brother, eldest sister-in-law, second brother, third sister-in-law. Zhao Wenxing first greeted his brothers and sisters-in-law. These people were easier to deal with. After all, they didn't have any opinions about him. They even replied very politely. Finally, Zhao Wenxing looked nervously at Zhao Baoshan and Xuanhua and called out, "Father, mother?" Zhao Baoshan coughed softly and gave an indifferent response to Zhao Wenxing. Xuanhua pulled a long face and snorted softly, "You still know to come back. You still remember that I'm your mother." Zhao Wenxing's ears turned red and he lowered his head, not knowing what to say. There was a hint of resentment in his tone. Zhao Baoshan poked Xuanhua's arm. All right. Didn't I tell you to stop talking? What are you still mumbling about?" Xuanhua pursed her lips. She coveted Zhao Baoshan's prestige and didn't say anything else. Zhao Wenxing felt a little better. Then he gave Jin Suizhuan a look. Jin Suizhuan faced Xuanhua and Zhao Baoshan somewhat cautiously and called out, "Father, mother, mm?" Zhao Baoshan gave her face and responded. This meant that he acknowledged Jin Suizhuan as old Zhao's daughter-in-law. Jin Suizhuan was somewhat happy. However, Xuanhua didn't say anything in response. It was already good enough that she didn't call Jin Suizhuan a vixen. How could she respond to Jin Suizhuan? Zhao Tianan had been waiting for this moment. As soon as he heard Zhao Wenhua say this, he immediately nodded and responded, "Dad, it's done. All right, let's go." And Zhao Tianan came out wearing the groom's clothes. The bright red gown set off his delicate and handsome face. Usually he didn't feel it, but now he felt that he was much more handsome. He was a proper handsome man. As soon as Zhao Tianan came out of the house, the villagers who came to join in the fun saw him and praised him one by one. Don't say Tianan is really handsome. Chapter 2255. Who knows at that time? At that time, no one would take a fancy to old Zhao's third branch. Sai, if you want to blame someone, you can only blame yourself for being too shallow. To be able to marry your daughter to old Zhao's family, not to mention Tianan's handsome appearance, old Zhao's third branch is living such a good life now. With so much money, won't your child enjoy a good life after marrying over? In the future you'll be able to eat and drink well for the rest of your life. You don't have to be like us, sometimes unable to even fill your stomach. Isn't that so? Now that he's going to marry a wife, we won't have this opportunity. Sigh. Several women sat together and chattered. In addition to sighing at Zhao Tianan's handsome appearance, they also regretted that they couldn't be related to Zhao Yun'er's family. They didn't expect that an outsider would take advantage of them. At this time, outside Zhao Yun'er's courtyard, Zhao Ping'er and Xuanhuan also came to attend Zhao Tianan's wedding. After all, it was a big event, and Zhao Ping'er was Zhao Tianan's biological sister, so it was not good for her not to come. The restaurant's business had stabilized, so it was fine to leave it to the restaurant's manager. It wouldn't take much effort for them to take a day off. Ma Xiaofeng came with Zhao Ping'er to attend Zhao Tianan's wedding. Ma Xiaofeng originally didn't want to come, but Zhao Ping'er persuaded her. In case Zhao Tianan saw Ma Xiaofeng and still had feelings for Ma Xiaofeng and changed his mind at the last minute, he could directly pull Ma Xiaofeng to the wedding ceremony. Anyway, there was a chance to change the situation if she went. She could only stay at home and watch the man she liked be snatched away by others. Ma Xiaofeng pondered for a while, then agreed to let Zhao Ping'er come. Before Ma Xiaofeng came over, Zhao Ping'er specially told Ma Xiaofeng to dress up beautifully, wearing beautiful clothes and wearing beautiful jewelry. All men liked beautiful women. As long as Zhao Tianan caught a glimpse of Ma Xiaofeng, he would definitely know that Ma Xiaofeng was prettier than Mu Hin. Ma Xiaofeng put on her newly bought silk dress. The light green dress was full of immortal aura. She wore a white jade hairpin on her head, which added a bit of delicateness. Coupled with the matching jewelry, she looked just like a young lady from a rich family. She was completely different from the countryside girl from before. Seeing Ma Xiaofeng dressed like this, she was discovered by the sharp-eyed villagers. Many women brought the topic back to Ma Xiaofeng. Look, Ma Xiaofeng and the eldest daughter of old Zhao's third branch have earned a lot of money. Now they are dressed so well and even have money to buy these jewelry. Aya, haven't you heard? The restaurant they opened in Yang City is doing well. How can the daily income of such a big restaurant be bad? He turned his head and looked at Zhao Ping'er. Sister, don't make fun of me. How am I making fun of you? I'm clearly telling the truth. Xiaofeng, tell me, am I right? Tianan is much more handsome than usual today, isn't he? Zhao Ping'er deliberately pulled Ma Xiaofeng to let Zhao Tianan notice Ma Xiaofeng. Under Zhao Ping'er's arrangement, Zhao Tianan's gaze fell on Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng was very beautifully dressed today. She was much more beautiful than he had ever seen her before. Chapter 2257. It had been a long time since he last saw Ma Xiaofeng. The two of them met again under such circumstances. Ma Xiaofeng was still Ma Xiaofeng and he was someone else's groom today. If it weren't for the series of events back then, perhaps the ones walking into the wedding today would be him and Ma Xiaofeng. It was a pity that the world was fickle and unpredictable. Since it had already changed and could not be undone, there was no need to think about it anymore. The most important thing was to do well in the present and cherish the people in front of him. His feelings for Ma Xiaofeng were only in the past and would slowly fade away with time. Now Mu Hin was the only person left in his heart. As for Ma Xiaofeng, he only wished her well in his heart. A good girl like Ma Xiaofeng would definitely find a man who would love and dote on her in the future. It was a pity that this man was not him. Ma Xiaofeng lowered her head, and her cheeks were slightly red. She replied in a small voice, Tianan is indeed quite handsome today. Zhao Ping'er quickly said, Tianan, you heard it now, right? I'm not the only one who praised you today. Even Xiaofeng said so. Zhao Tianan's cheeks also blushed for a moment, but he was too embarrassed to say anything more. Actually, he was too embarrassed to face Ma Xiaofeng. It was really awkward to see Ma Xiaofeng at such an occasion. Zhao Ping'er saw that Zhao Tianan was in a daze and did not have any other intentions. She was extremely anxious. This idiot, how could he be so indifferent when he saw how beautiful Xiaofeng was today? He didn't seem to care about Xiaofeng at all. Could it be that this brother of hers had really forgotten Ma Xiaofeng completely? Wasn't this a little too heartless? At this moment, Xuanhuan urged Zhao Tianan, Tianan, are you ready? If you're ready, quickly get on the horse and receive the bride. Okay. Zhao Tianan quickly responded, then said to Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng, Sister, Xiaofeng, I'm going. As he spoke, he turned around, went to the horse and jumped onto its back. Before Zhao Ping'er could stop Zhao Tianan had already left. Sigh, really? Zhao Ping'er huffed angrily. How could it be like this? Now that he saw Ma Xiaofeng, why didn't he reconsider? He still wanted to receive the bride. It seemed that Mu Hin really charmed Zhao Tianan, making it impossible for Zhao Tianan to forget that he left her and abandoned Ma Xiaofeng. After Zhao Tianan jumped onto the horse's back, the bridal procession left old Zhao's house in a grandiose manner. They first circled around the village, then circled to Mu Lan's house to receive the bride. Watching the bridal procession leave, Ma Xiaofeng's heart seemed even more empty. Seeing the bright red figure on the horse's back, that handsome young man, Ma Xiaofeng suddenly felt a lump in her throat, and her eyes couldn't help but redden. She thought that she was just putting on a show for Zhao Tianan before, but she fancied Zhao Yun'er's family's conditions and wanted her to marry into a good family so that she could enjoy the rest of her life. At this time, Ma Xiaofeng realized that in fact, she didn't just fancy Zhao Yun'er's family's conditions. She had unknowingly developed some feelings for Zhao Tianan. Unfortunately, this boy with feelings got married today, but he married another girl. From now on, there was no possibility of her and Zhao Tianan being together. Ma Xiaofeng tried hard to restrain herself, not letting her tears fall. Chapter 2258. Zhao Ping'er glanced sideways at Ma Xiaofeng, and her heart ached for her. She only had one friend, Ma Xiaofeng, so she tried her best to help Ma Xiaofeng so that Ma Xiaofeng could be happy. Unfortunately, she couldn't interfere in the current situation and couldn't help Ma Xiaofeng at all. After all, she wasn't Zhao Tianan's biological parents, so she couldn't decide who Zhao Tianan would marry. If they really followed their parents' orders and matchmakers' instructions, as Zhao Tianan's parents, she would definitely let Zhao Tianan marry Ma Xiaofeng and not Mu Hin. Zhao Ping'er sighed heavily. This silly brother of hers, didn't he know who was good and who was bad? Ma Xiaofeng was clearly so much better than Mu Hin, so why didn't he realize it? He would definitely regret it in the future. Xiaofeng, don't be sad. He didn't choose you because he didn't have the good fortune. He was blind to have fallen for a slut like Mu Hin. Zhao Ping'er patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder and comforted Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng tugged at the corner of her mouth and smiled helplessly. Sister Ping'er, I'm fine. You don't have to comfort me. Xiaofeng, sigh, I'm telling the truth. Don't be sad. When I see your eyes turn red, I feel sad too. Zhao Ping'er said with a tearful tone. Ma Xiaofeng was touched for a moment. She looked at Zhao Ping'er and said, Sister Ping'er, thank you. Sigh, what are you thanking me for? You're my good friend, so of course I want you to be happy. It's a pity that I couldn't do anything to help you or win Tianan's heart. It's okay, Sister Ping'er. You've already helped me a lot. This was Tianan's decision and no one could change it. Perhaps I don't have the fortune to be with Tianan, nor do I have the fortune to bring our relationship closer. Whoa. Xiaofeng, don't say any more. If you continue, I'm going to cry. Zhao Ping'er couldn't help but wipe the tears from the corner of her eyes. Ma Xiaofeng pursed her lips and tried her best to suppress the sadness in her heart. Then she said to Zhao Ping'er, Sister Ping'er, I want some peace and quiet. Alright, I'll go with you. Compared to Zhao Ping'er and Ma Xiaofeng's sadness, the villagers were in a good mood after seeing such a lively scene. They were all very happy. This kind of excitement was rare to see. Although there were other families in the village holding a wedding, none of them could hold a wedding as grand as Zhao Yun'er's. Not to mention that even the county magistrate was there. The wedding ceremony was also one of a kind. No one could compare. The county magistrate had never seen such excitement before. He usually attended weddings in the prefectural city. This was the first time he had seen such excitement in the countryside. It gave them the impression that a wedding in the countryside was much livelier than a wedding in the city. Everyone in the village was gathered together, chattering and laughing. The atmosphere was completely different from the one they were used to. They couldn't help but walk out of the courtyard and watch the wedding procession leave. They also listened to the villagers' discussions. Only when they immersed themselves in this kind of atmosphere could they understand the local customs. Lan Xian was usually cooped up in the residence and felt very bored. He felt a little tired every day and didn't have much energy. It wasn't easy for him to come out and join in the excitement. He felt much more energetic and cheerful than usual. Chapter 2259. It seemed that she had to take the child out more often in the future. Staying at home all the time would only make the child more introverted, depressed, and not talkative. Coming out to get some fresh air and join in the fun, he looked lively and energetic. "Mother, when will the wedding procession come back?" Lan Xian pulled the deputy magistrate's wife's hand and asked. The deputy magistrate's wife shook her head and said, "I don't know. It should be soon. Let's just wait." Yes. Mother, this is so fun. Mother, can you bring me here to play more often?" Lan Xian looked at the deputy magistrate's wife with big and bright eyes full of expectation. The deputy magistrate's wife had a warm smile on her face. She touched Lan Xian's head and replied, "Of course you can. Xian, if you want to play, just tell me. If your father doesn't have time, I'll play with you." Yes. Lan Xian nodded heavily in response. His little face was full of smiles and he looked very excited. The deputy magistrate's wife narrowed her eyes and looked very happy. She didn't know what her child wanted or liked, so she wanted to give him the best of everything. Now she found that the things her xianxia liked were so simple. He didn't like material things but companionship and joy. She wasn't a competent mother before and neglected a lot of things. The yard was still lively, but Xuanhuan was a little bored. He wasn't interested in these things. The only person in his heart was Zhao Xinhui. Unfortunately, he didn't find Zhao Xinhui among so many people who came to old Zhao's house. He didn't know where Zhao Xinhui went. Xuanhuan looked for her for a while but couldn't find her. He had to ask Xuanhuan, "Grandma, where is Hui? Did she come to play today?" Seeing Xuanhuan, Xuanhuan's attitude was quite good. Xuanhuan knew that the Xuanhuan needed to develop a good relationship with Zhao Xinhui, so she replied with a smile, "She came over to play. Hui is eating melon seeds in her room. Do you want me to call her out for you?" Zhao Xinhui was a precious person. In addition, her body had been tortured before, so she was a little weak, so she couldn't stand for long. She didn't gather outside to watch the fun like the others. Instead, she sat in Zhao Yun'er's house and ate the melon seeds and peanuts prepared by Zhao Yun'er. Xuanhuan hurriedly waved his hand and said with a smile, No, Grandma. I can go by myself." "Alright, go ahead then." Xuanhua replied with a smile. Zhao Baoshan coughed softly and poked Xuanhua with his arm. Xuanhua looked at Zhao Baoshan with some confusion and asked, "I say, old man, what's wrong with you? Why are you poking me with your elbow? Don't you know that I'm already so old and skinny? You're hurting me." Zhao Baoshan frowned and reprimanded Xuanhua softly in her ear, "You're really too much. Why did you let Xuanhuan look for Hui? Why can't he look for Hui? Can we stop him if he wants to see Hui? Now that he's opened a restaurant, he's no longer the poor boy he used to be. Since he still has feelings for Hui, let the two of them spend more time together. As her father, you should know that with Hui's conditions, how can she find a better man?" Chapter 2260. However, Zhao Baoshan said, "You old woman, how can I not know about this? But it's fine if it's in our house. After all, no one saw it and no one knows. It's in public and almost everyone in the village is there. What do you think people will think if they see that Xuanhuan is hooking up with our Hui? What kind of gossip will it spread? I think you're not thinking clearly at all. You're not thinking about the reputation of our old Zhao family." Xuanhua pursed her lips as if she didn't care at all. "Old man, why are you always talking about our old Zhao family's reputation? Is your old face more important, or is the rest of Hui's life more important? You're Hui's biological father. Can't you hope for her to be well?" Zhao Baoshan said unhappily, "Why can't I hope for her to be well? But you don't have to do it in front of so many people, right? Why do you have to make such a big fuss? Why do you have to embarrass yourself like this when you don't have to? Who doesn't care about face in our village? Hui is important, but our old Zhao family's reputation is also important. Anyway, I don't care. In my heart, Hui is still the most important. I don't care about reputation. The rest of Hui's life will only be good if she has enough to eat and drink. Today's matter can't be exposed, but it will be exposed one day. Anyway, Hui will definitely live with Xuanhuan in the future. It's just a matter of time. Why are you still worried about this and that?" After being scolded by Xuanhua, Zhao Baoshan sighed and waved his hand. Okay. Whatever you say. I won't care, okay?" Xuanhuan had already rushed into Zhao Yun'er's house. He couldn't wait to see Zhao Xinhui. When they arrived at Zhao Yun'er's house, They saw Zhao Xinhui sitting alone in front of a stool, eating melon seeds out of boredom and looking outside. Xuanhuan grinned and stuck close to Zhao Xinhui. She lowered her voice and cried, "Hui, er." Zhao Xinhui raised his head and met Xuanhuan's eyes. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. "You've come?" Yeah. "Since you're here, sit down. Let's eat sunflower seeds together." Zhao Xinhui patted the stool beside her and motioned for Xuanhuan to sit beside her. However, Xuanhuan said, "Hui, I'm not tired or hungry. There's no need to sit down and eat melon seeds." Zhao Xinhui was stunned, then said, "Even if you're not hungry or tired, you can't just stand there. What's the point of just standing here?" A shy smile appeared on Xuanhuan's face. Let's go somewhere else. There are too many people here. Let's find a quiet place to talk." She said that she wanted to talk, but in fact she wanted to hug Zhao Xinhui and touch Zhao Xinhui. A man and a woman in love really lived up to the saying that one day apart felt like 3 years. He hadn't seen Zhao Xinhui for a few days and he missed her so much. Besides missing Zhao Xinhui, he also missed Zhao Xinhui's body. Chapter 2261. Since Zhao Yun'er's house was large, the back room was more secluded. In addition, some of the plants in the back room had not been removed, so it was difficult to see them once they went in. There were many people in Zhao Yun'er's house, so everyone was excited to see what was going on. No one noticed Xuanhuan and Zhao Xinhui. When the two of them arrived at the back of Zhao Yun'er's house, Xuanhuan eagerly went up to Zhao Xinhui. I missed you so much." When Xuanhuan saw that no one was around, he threw all caution to the wind and hugged Zhao Xinhui. He buried his head in Zhao Xinhui's neck and whispered sweet nothings to her. On the surface, Zhao Xinhui pushed Xuanhuan away, but on the inside she was very happy. She said sweetly, "You jerk? Seriously? Aren't you afraid of being seen?" Xuanhuan looked around and replied with a grin, It's very safe here. Everyone has nothing to do. Why would we come to the back of the house? What if someone saw us?" Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and blushed. Xuanhuan smiled. Don't be afraid. They won't. It's not a big deal if someone sees us. I'm going to marry you in the future anyway. We're going to be together. This is a good opportunity to let everyone know." Zhao Xinhui covered her mouth and smiled. She looked at Xuanhuan's handsome face and didn't know why she liked him so much. Xuanhuan seemed to be better at coaxing people than young Master Huang. When Zhao Xinhui saw that no one was around, she reached out her hand and caressed Xuanhuan's body. She teased him. "Xuanhuan, I haven't seen you for a few days. Did you really miss me?" "Of course it's true. I missed you so much." Xuanhuan replied without hesitation. Zhao Xinhui shook his head. "I don't believe you. How can you prove that you really miss me?" Xuanhuan hurriedly pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand up and placed it on his heart. He said to Zhao Xinhui, My heart is right here. Feel it and you'll know if I'm telling the truth. If it's possible, I really want you to crawl into my heart or dig it out for you to see. That way you'll be able to tell if I'm telling the truth." Zhao Xinhui was amused by Xuanhuan. "I was just saying. Look at how anxious you are. If you really dig your heart out, wouldn't you be dead?" As long as I can prove my sincerity and you can trust me, what harm is there in taking my life?" Zhao Xinhui hurriedly covered Xuanhuan's mouth. All right. Don't say such unlucky things. I believe in your sincerity, okay? And then, you're the woman I love the most. I've never been hypocritical towards you. We still have a long life ahead of us. I hope to use my actions to prove to you that you didn't choose the wrong man. He'll give you happiness, Xuanhuan said seriously as he held Zhao Xinhui's hand. Zhao Xinhui's heart felt as if it was filled with honey. It was sweet. When the two of them hugged each other, they couldn't control themselves. Chapter 2262. He wanted her. He wanted her now. At the thought of Zhao Xinhui's body, Xuanhuan couldn't control himself anymore. Zhao Xinhui lightly punched Xuanhuan's chest with her fist and pouted coquettishly. "I didn't know that you were such a pervert." Previously, Zhao Xinhui thought that Xuanhuan was quite honest and wouldn't say or do such things. She didn't expect that she had overestimated him. In fact, Xuanhuan was the same. Xuanhuan smiled and replied, How many men aren't perverted? If they don't look perverted, they're just pretending. But I can't be perverted by other women. You're the only one in my heart, so I only want to be perverted by you." Zhao Xinhui blushed. Although she had done that kind of thing many times, she was still a little shy to do it with the man she liked. It was a different kind of feeling. "You can't do it even if you want me. This place isn't suitable. Hold it in." Zhao Xinhui lowered her head and said shyly. No, I can't hold it in anymore. Touch it if you don't believe me. As Qin Yuan spoke, he pulled Zhao Xinhui's hand and let her touch his thing that was reacting. After Zhao Xinhui touched it, her ears turned even redder. It seemed that Qin Yuan really couldn't hold it in any longer. She looked at Qin Yuan's expression again. She couldn't refuse his impatience. Actually, after touching Qin Yuan, Zhao Xinhui's body reacted the same way. She was a normal woman. She also looked forward to this kind of thing. Zhao Xinhui couldn't bear to reject Qin Yuan. She lowered her head and said shyly, "If you really want to do it, let's go to my house. There's no one at my house. We can do whatever we want." With that, Zhao Xinhui took Qin Yuan's hand and prepared to leave. Qin Yuan, on the other hand, stood where he was, unwilling to leave. Zhao Xinhui frowned and asked in confusion, "What's wrong, Qin Yuan? Don't you want to do it?" Qin Yuan shook his head. "No, of course I want to. Then why don't you leave? Hurry up, don't dawdle. The sooner you go to my house, the sooner we can start." Qin Yuan smiled wretchedly. I want to do it right here." Ah. Zhao Xinhui opened his mouth and looked at Qin Yuan in disbelief. He thought that Qin Yuan had made a mistake. Here? It couldn't be, right? What was he going to do? Wouldn't it be bad if someone saw us? Zhao Xinhui was a little unhappy. No matter what, it was more convenient to do it on the bed. What was the point of doing it here? Qin Yuan hugged Zhao Xinhui and coaxed her gently. Don't worry. This is the back of the house. He won't come here casually. Besides, we can go to the grass. No one will see what we're doing." Zhao Xinhui was a little confused. "But Qin Yuan, the bed at home is obviously more comfortable. Why do we have to do it in the grass? There are so many people on the ground. It's not comfortable at all." Qin Yuan said, I think it's more exciting here. Why don't we try it here?" Chapter 2263. After hearing Qin Yuan's explanation, Zhao Xinhui's face instantly flushed red. How could she do that? Zhao Xinhui was a little embarrassed to try. She was still a little worried that others would see them. Although she was quite thick-skinned, if someone saw them now, the entire village would know. What would others think of her then? He didn't know what kind of gossip would come out of it. Everyone didn't like to be counted by others. Qin Yuan said, I'm begging you. Just satisfy me this once. Let's give it a try." I'm begging you." Zhao Xinhui couldn't reject Qin Yuan too much. After all, Qin Yuan was different from before. She had to do well and firmly hold on to Qin Yuan's heart. Therefore, she could only grit her teeth and nod in agreement. "All right, let's give it a try then." Qin Yuan's eyes were instantly tinged with excitement. Then he hugged Zhao Xinhui and impatiently started to move his hands. Zhao Xinhui nudged Qin Yuan and said, "We agreed to go to the bushes. Don't do it here." Only then did Qin Yuan restrain himself. He first went to the bushes with Zhao Xinhui and then started to move his hands. Qin Yuan first took off Zhao Xinhui's outerwear and his own outerwear and placed them on the ground. This way, the two of them wouldn't be poked by the weeds on the ground and would feel more comfortable. When Zhao Xinhui was stripped down to her undergarment, her beautiful figure was exposed in front of Qin Yuan's eyes. When Qin Yuan saw this, he had the urge to have a nosebleed. Zhao Xinhui also glanced at Qin Yuan's chest. She reached out and caressed it. Then she urged Qin Yuan, "What are you still looking at? Hurry up and come." Qin Yuan was no longer in a daze. He directly tore off Zhao Xinhui's undergarment and began to move on top of her happily. The surrounding vegetation was rustling because of the two of them. At this moment, in the front yard of Zhao Yun'er's house, because there were many people, the noise was very loud. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were at the back of the house. Even though Zhao Xinhui was moaning happily, the noise from the front yard still covered Zhao Xinhui's voice. No one noticed that a dirty thing was going on in the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. After a while, Qin Yuan's forehead was dripping with sweat. Quite a few beads of sweat appeared. However, there was an indescribable thrill to having sex on the grass. Sure enough, his decision was not wrong. The feeling in the grass field was different from the feeling at home. Looks like I have to find a few more ways to play in the future to make this matter more interesting. However, the two of them were completely oblivious to the fact that someone was slowly walking towards them. Previously, Zhao Pinger accompanied Ma Xiaofeng to find a quiet place to listen to Ma Xiaofeng talk. However, after a while, other people from the village came over. The originally quiet place became noisy again. Zhao Pinger and Ma Xiaofeng had to move to the back room of Zhao Yun'er's house. Usually no one came here, so it must be very quiet. The two of them could sit down and talk slowly. There was no need for them to move. Because of Zhao Qianan's marriage, Ma Xiaofeng was still immersed in grief and had not come back to her senses. Chapter 2264. Ma Xiaofeng rubbed her eyes and looked at Zhao Ping'er, feeling very touched. She said to Zhao Ping'er, "Big sister Ping'er, thank you so much. You've always been the only one who stood by my side without hesitation and helped me a lot. You're really my good friend." Zhao Ping'er was also touched when she heard that. "Little Feng, we've always been good friends. Is there still a need to say this?" Yes. Ma Xiaofeng replied with a heavy voice. In the past she treated Zhao Ping'er a little more hypocritically. But now she felt that there were not many people who treated her well in this world. Zhao Ping'er was one of the few people who treated her the best without asking for anything in return. It seemed like she had to treat Zhao Ping'er as her true friend in the future. Otherwise she would be too heartless. So, Little Feng, actually, I'm quite envious of you sometimes. Although you can't be together with Tianan, you're pretty. Even without Tianan, you can definitely find a better man, Zhao Ping'er said as she looked at Ma Xiaofeng's exquisite face with envy. Then she sighed regretfully and muttered, "If I were as pretty as you, then Big Brother Yuan would definitely not like my aunt. He would definitely like me and live a down-to-earth life with me. Thinking that I still have to share a man with my own aunt in the future. I feel very uncomfortable in my heart. Little Feng, you said that Big Brother Yuan was originally my husband. How can my aunt snatch a man from me? She's just relying on that foxy face of hers to seduce Big Brother Yuan on purpose. And Big Brother Yuan treats her so well. How can there still be a place for me in the future?" Looking at Zhao Ping'er's sad and helpless look, Ma Xiaofeng also felt some sympathy for Zhao Ping'er. "Big sister Ping'er, you can't change this matter either. It's still your aunt who's too shameless. You're Qin Yuan's first wife, and now she's sticking her foot in. Sai, isn't that so? Little Feng, tell me, what should I do?" Zhao Ping'er's pleading gaze landed on Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng shook her head and sighed. "I don't know either. Big sister Ping'er, if I have a way I'll definitely help you." Sigh. "Then there's no way. I can only wait for Big Brother Yuan to bring my aunt back." "Sister Ping, if only you can become beautiful and capture Qin Yuan's heart, maybe he won't be together with your aunt." Zhao Ping'er touched her own face. "If I'm beautiful, Big Brother Yuan won't have to look for my aunt. But Little Feng, look at my face. How can I become beautiful?" Ma Xiaofeng stared at Zhao Ping'er and said, "Actually, Big sister Ping'er, your facial features aren't ugly. In fact, they're quite good looking. Your figure is also quite good. It's curvy and better than the average person. Other than the birthmark on your face, there are also freckles. If you can remove these two things and your skin can be fairer, I think you'll be considered a beauty too," Zhao Ping'er said as if she was discouraged. "It's just that the birthmark and freckles on my face can't be removed. It made everyone say that I'm ugly." Chapter 2265. When Zhao Ping'er heard Ma Xiaofeng's words, her eyes suddenly lit up. "Xiaofeng, is what you said true? Can the birthmarks and freckles on my face really be removed?" "I don't know if they can be removed, but Sister Ping'er, you can ask a doctor first. Some doctors have good medical skills or they have some folk prescriptions. Maybe they can remove the birthmarks and freckles on your face. You have to try to have a chance. If you don't try, how will you know?" Zhao Ping'er felt that Ma Xiaofeng's words were very reasonable. In the past she didn't have money. Even if she could remove the things on her face, she couldn't afford it. Now that she had money, she had such a good opportunity. Why shouldn't she try it first, as Ma Xiaofeng said? If she could remove the birthmarks and scars on her face, then wouldn't she become a great beauty? When she thought of Zhao Ping'er, she was a little excited. As long as she was good-looking, maybe Qin Yuan would change his mind. Yes, Xiaofeng, then I'll try it later. At most, I'll spend more money. Now, even if I don't spend money, my aunt will take the money later. It's better to spend it on myself." Zhao Ping'er thought it through and sighed with Ma Xiaofeng. Ma Xiaofeng held Zhao Ping'er's hand and said, "Yes, Sister Ping'er, you really should think more about yourself." Yes. When the two of them were talking, Ma Xiaofeng suddenly heard a chaotic sound. It was a bit like a woman's moaning. Ma Xiaofeng made a shushing gesture. "Sister Ping'er, did you hear something?" Zhao Ping'er looked at Ma Xiaofeng curiously. "Sound? What sound?" "It's the sound of a man and a woman doing that," Ma Xiaofeng said with some embarrassment. After all, she was a girl, so she was embarrassed to talk about this kind of thing. "I don't think so," Zhao Ping'er muttered. "Sister Ping'er, listen carefully." Zhao Ping'er held her breath and stretched her ears to listen. Finally she heard some sounds. Just as Ma Xiaofeng said someone was doing that. Zhao Pinger's eyes immediately showed a touch of contempt, and Ma Xiaofeng said, Xiaofeng, there is really someone who is shameless enough to do that. Ma Xiaofeng said, yeah. Who would do such a shameless thing in broad daylight? Who knows? Xiaofeng, do you think someone is having an affair? Zhao Pinger's eyes were filled with curiosity. Ma Xiaofeng nodded. That's possible. Xiaofeng, do you think the two of them are having sex in the bushes? It should be. Zhao Pinger suddenly grabbed Ma Xiaofeng's hand and said to Ma Xiaofeng, Xiaofeng, why don't we go and see who is so shameless in the village? If they are not on good terms with us, we can go to the front yard and make a scene. Then everyone will come and see. That will be wonderful. Ma Xiaofeng was a little embarrassed as she moved her feet and asked resentfully, Sister Pingu, this isn't good, right? What's not good about it? Let's go and see. Ma Xiaofeng blushed and said, no, Sister Pinger. If we look, we will definitely see their naked bodies. I don't think it's good. Chapter 2266. Because of Zhao Pinger's teasing, Ma Xiaofeng's face became even redder. Speaking of which, it wasn't that she hadn't seen a man's body, but it was Dr. Sun's. And Dr. Sun was an old man, so he was different from ordinary men. Ma Xiaofeng had never seen such a young and impetuous man before. Therefore Zhao Pinger's words weren't entirely wrong. Zhao Pinger saw that Ma Xiaofeng was shy, so she patted Ma Xiaofeng's shoulder and said, Xiaofeng, it's okay if you're embarrassed. I'll go alone. Anyway, I've seen it before, so there's no need to be embarrassed. Ma Xiaofeng was shy and a little curious at the same time. What did it look like for someone else to have sex in the grass? Would the scene be very exciting? If she didn't see it this time, she wouldn't have such an opportunity next time. After thinking about it, Ma Xiaofeng decided to go with Zhao Pinger. Anyway, Zhao Pinger was embarrassed, so what was there for her to be embarrassed about? Moreover, it was Zhao Pinger who suggested it first. She was just an accompaniment. Sister Ping, I'll go with you. Ma Xiaofeng said weakly. Okay, let's go together. The two of them held hands and walked towards the grass together. The closer they got, the clearer the sounds were, and the ecstatic sounds made people's hearts feel a little numb. When they got closer, Zhao Pinger frowned and noticed that something was wrong. She whispered to Ma Xiaofeng, something's not right, this sound is a little wrong. Sister Pinger, what's wrong? Zhao Pinger's frown deepened. This sound is a bit like my aunt's. What, your aunt? Yes. No way. Ma Xiaofeng opened her mouth in surprise. If it were your aunt, who would she be doing this with now? Zhao Pinger shook her head. I don't know. It could be my big brother Yuan or some other man. It would be better if it was another man. If Qin Yuan knew about this, he would definitely not forgive your aunt. Ma Xiaofeng said. She had seen through the situation. As a man, no matter how much he liked a woman, he would never allow this woman to cheat on him. Qin Yuan was a man with strong self-esteem. He would never forgive Zhao Xinhui for betraying him. Sigh, I'm just afraid that it's not some other man but Big Brother Yuan. Zhao Pinger sighed. The two of them carefully parted the bushes and saw Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui naked. Zhao Xinhui seemed to be enjoying himself. Although she had more or less expected it, Zhao Pinger still felt uncomfortable when she saw such a scene. Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were in a state of oblivion. How would they know that they had already been discovered? Qin Yuan said to Zhao Xinhui, it's so exciting to do it here. It's so comfortable. Zhao Xinhui groaned a few times and replied to Qin Yuan with satisfaction. Yes, it's so comfortable and exciting. Qin Yuan, you're really amazing. I used to think that you were quite ordinary and looked weak. I didn't expect you to be so amazing. I really underestimated you in the past. Qin Yuan smiled proudly and said, of course. How could I not be amazing? As the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. If you don't try, you can't jump to conclusions easily. Yes, it's my fault. You're amazing. Good. Qin Yuan smiled proudly. Chapter 2267. Zhao Pinger felt as if her heart had been pierced by something. It hurt so much. Because she loved Qin Yuan, she naturally didn't want to see Qin Yuan doing that kind of thing to another woman and even saying sweet nothings to her. This would make her understand that Qin Yuan only had Zhao Xinhui in his heart and not her. When Qin Yuan did this kind of thing with her in the past, he would keep his head down and never say a word. However, when facing Zhao Xinhui, he babbled so much. This meant that to Qin Yuan, doing that kind of thing with her was purely to satisfy his physical needs. However, with Zhao Xinhui, it was also a deeper way to express his love. Zhao Xinhui whined and said, Qin Yuan, are you comfortable? Xuanhuan answered without hesitation. Comfortable, of course I'm comfortable. Let's do more of this kind of stimulation in the future, okay? Zhao Xinhui replied, okay, I really want to marry you immediately. Then we can do it day and night. I'm going to do it 10 times a day. I'm going to eat you up. As Xuanhuan said this, he lowered his head and bit Zhao Xinhui's chest hard. Zhao Xinhui gritted her teeth in pain and said, ouch, it hurts. Xuanhuan, what nonsense are you talking about? 10 times a day. It's not that you want to eat me up, I'm afraid that I'll squeeze you dry. Xuanhuan smiled wretchedly and said, how can that be? I have good stamina, so it won't happen. I can do it 10 times a day. Haha, if you can do it, then I can do it too. Okay, then we'll do it every day. Hearing Xuanhuan's words, Zhao Ping felt even more stifled. For the past few nights, when she slept with Xuanhuan, she wanted to do it. However, Xuanhuan said that he didn't have the energy to do it and didn't want to do it. However, now that he was in front of Zhao Xinhui, he gave a different explanation. To put it bluntly, it was because Xuanhuan didn't like her and didn't want to do it with her. Xuanhuan liked Zhao Xinhui, so he didn't want Zhao Xinhui enough. The wound in Zhao Ping'er's heart, which was stabbed by Xuanhuan, began to bleed. It was so painful that she couldn't breathe. Why is this happening? Xuanhuan was her husband. How could he treat her like this? Ma Xiaofeng saw the explosive scene in front of her and quickly retracted her gaze after a few glances. When she saw Zhao Ping'er's sad expression, she comforted her in a low voice. Sister Ping'er, don't look anymore. Let's go. Since you know that Xuanhuan doesn't like you, it's useless to be sad. Zhao Ping'er couldn't stay any longer, so the two of them left quietly. Ma Xiaofeng didn't know how to comfort Zhao Ping'er when she saw how depressed she was. Actually, she could understand Xuanhuan's feelings. After all, Zhao Ping'er was so ugly and men cared more about appearance. It was normal that he didn't like Zhao Ping'er. If Zhao Ping'er was a little prettier and looked as delicate and pretty as Zhao Xinhui, Xuanhuan wouldn't have done such a thing. Unfortunately, some things were predestined and couldn't be changed. Zhao Ping'er had a hard life, but she was helpless. She had experienced so many miserable things in the past. When she was young, she didn't have a good day. It wasn't easy for her to meet Zhao Tianan. Today, Zhao Tianan married another woman. At most, she and Zhao Ping'er were in the same boat. Both of them had a hard life. However, they couldn't blame anyone else. This was their fate and they could only accept it. From now on, it has nothing to do with you. Even if Xuanhuan finds out, they will look for me and blame me. They won't blame you. Seeing Ma Xiaofeng being so righteous, Zhao Ping'er was touched for a moment. Xiaofeng, you're so good to me. Ma Xiaofeng smiled. Big sister Ping'er, don't be silly. You're my good friend. If I'm not good to you, who else can I be good to? Zhao Ping'er nodded heavily. Chapter 2269. Ma Xiaofeng's words immediately caused panic and restlessness among the villagers. There was a tiger in the village before. This tiger was not an ordinary animal. It was very fierce and it even ate people. If it was not dealt with properly, it would be a hidden danger. It could come to the village and make trouble at any time. If someone was hurt and lost their life, the situation would be serious and terrible. When people were anxious and panicked, they would not think so much. They did not think carefully about who shouted this sentence. Everyone was anxious about what to do when the tiger came. At this moment, all the people in the village gathered together. There was strength in numbers and they might be able to deal with the tiger. If they did not think of a way to deal with the tiger today, the whole village would be in a panic. Who would dare to continue to walk in the village? The villagers gathered together and discussed. This time, Lord Li Zheng also came to the banquet at Yuerjia's place. The county magistrate was also present. Hearing that there was a tiger coming down the mountain and making trouble in the village, the county magistrate attached great importance to it. He was originally helping the people in Yang City to deal with these trivial matters. Now that the villagers were in danger, as a parent, he should stand out and help to think of a way to deal with it. The county magistrate first asked what was going on. The villagers briefly told the county magistrate about the tiger coming down the mountain. Because the tiger had already hurt people before, the county magistrate felt that they should treat it more seriously. After consideration, he decided to let the men in the village gather together and take hoes, ropes and other tools to kill the tiger. In this way they could get rid of all future troubles and avoid the risk of being attacked by the tiger in the future. Under the county magistrate's organization, everyone carried the hose, carrying poles, shovels and ropes from Zhao Yiner's house. The group of people gathered together and walked towards the back room of Zhao Yiner's house. Zhao Ping'er frowned. She was a little worried when she saw this situation. She could not help but pull Ma Xiaofeng's sleeve and whispered in Ma Xiaofeng's ear, "Xiaofeng, will we make a big deal out of it?" Seeing Zhao Ping'er being so cautious, Ma Xiaofeng secretly cursed Zhao Ping'er for being so useless. However, she didn't want to hurt Zhao Ping'er's feelings, so she didn't say it out loud. Instead, she patiently explained to Zhao Ping'er, "It's better if you make a big fuss. If you don't make a big fuss, who will be able to see the Xuanhuan and your aunt's wedding? Only when everyone knows about it will your aunt be reviled and despised, and then she won't be able to be with Xuanhuan." Zhao Ping'er sighed and didn't say anything. Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping'er's shoulder and comforted her. "Well, Ping'er, don't think too much. Anyway, things have already come to this point. It's useless for you to worry. Let's follow them and see what the situation is like." Zhao Ping'er nodded, "Okay." The strong men in the village walked in front, and many curious women who wanted to join in the fun walked behind them. Originally, everyone was very scared. However, when there were more people, they felt that there was strength in numbers. Nothing serious should happen. When they walked to the back of Zhao Yiner's house, they found that the grass was moving. Everyone thought that there was a tiger inside, so they carefully went over and wanted to catch the tiger. When they rushed over, they found that something was wrong. Chapter 2270. When the man exclaimed, the hearts of the people behind him could not help but tighten. They thought that something big had happened. Everyone took a step back in fear. If the tiger pounced on them, they would definitely die. After a while, they realized that something was wrong. The man in the lead said, This. A man behind him mustered up his courage and asked, "What exactly did you see?" "Someone is actually doing that in the grass in broad daylight." After the man said that, the people behind him immediately exploded. They thought that they had encountered a tiger, but in the end they realized that they had bumped into someone else. At this moment, the big commotion also brought Zhao Xinhui and Xuanhuan back to their senses. Seeing that more and more people were swarming over, Zhao Xinhui and Xuanhuan asked anxiously, "Xuanhuan, why are there so many people suddenly here? What should we do?" Xuanhuan's mind was also a little blank. How could he know why so many people suddenly came here? With so many people here, wouldn't what he and Zhao Xinhui did be known by many people? The problem was that they could not hide now. With so many people here, where could they escape to? Zhao Xinhui continued to pat Xuanhuan. "Xuanhuan, what should we do? Hurry up and think of a way." Sob. "If others find out, how can I face others in the future?" Xuanhuan tried hard to calm himself down. Then he hurriedly picked up the clothes on the ground and wrapped them around Zhao Xinhui's body so that Zhao Xinhui would not be discovered. Then he hurriedly took another set of clothes and covered his lower body. As soon as he was done, the two of them were surrounded by the villagers. Xuanhuan nervously protected Zhao Xinhui in his arms, afraid that Zhao Xinhui would be seen by other men. As a normal man, he naturally did not like his woman being seen by others. When the crowd saw Zhao Xinhui and Xuanhuan hugging each other in ragged clothes, they knew what had happened just now. For a moment, everyone started discussing. If we didn't come to the backyard to catch a tiger, who would have thought that these two people would actually do such a shameful thing in the grassland? That's right. Of all the places to settle it, why did you have to come here to disgust people? Isn't this Zhao Ping'er's man? How did she get together with Zhao Xinhui? One is the younger sister-in-law, and the other is the younger sister-in-law. If the two of them do such a thing, isn't that incest? Isn't this incest? TSK. These two people are too shameless. This is simply unheard of. If we hadn't seen it with our own eyes, who would have known that my aunt and niece-in-law would be able to pull off such a trick? He's simply fooling around. He's worse than a beast. He'll definitely be punished by the heavens. Ping'er is really a pitiful girl. Back then when she was poor, she married into the Xuanhuan. Now that she has opened a restaurant and is rich, in the blink of an eye, she got together with her sister-in-law. Oh my God, how can there be such a person? It's fine if that man is not a good thing, but Zhao Xinhui is Zhao Ping'er's elder, right? An elder stole a younger generation's man. How shameless can she be? Haven't you heard? Zhao Xinhui is a vixen. She relies on her face to seduce men. Didn't she seduce a rich man's son before? He even took her back and made her a concubine. She lived a good life for a while. Chapter 2271. So Zhao Xinhui has taken a liking to Xuanhuan's wealth and wants him to take her to live a good life. That's why she deliberately seduced Xuanhuan and charmed him? Isn't that the same as openly snatching her niece's man? How can there be such a shameless woman in our village? She's a scourge. Fortunately, our man doesn't have much ability. Otherwise he would definitely be targeted by her. At that time she would also seduce him. What a shameless vixen. What kind of daughter did he raise in old Zhao's family? She treasures him all the time, but in the end she's a shameless person. She's just a slut. She's so disgusting. The women were chattering and chattering away, and it was very lively. However, they scolded Zhao Xinhui badly and almost killed Zhao Xinhui. Although Zhao Xinhui was thick-skinned, she naturally felt uncomfortable being scolded by so many people. She looked at Qin Yuan pitifully, pulled Qin Yuan's hand and asked in a low voice, "Qin Yuan, what should we do now? I don't want to hear these people gossip anymore. Hurry up and think of a solution." Qin Yuan sighed and said, I don't have a choice. There are too many people and they won't listen to me no matter what I say. Moreover, they won't listen to me when they decide on something. Zhao Xinhui's brows knitted together. She was angry and anxious, but there was nothing she could do. Because of this, more and more people came over to join in the fun. Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui stood on the spot anxiously and were scolded by these people. After a while, the deputy district magistrate and the village chief came over together and asked what was going on. Immediately, someone reported to the deputy district magistrate, "Sir, we came to catch the tiger and saw something strange in the bushes. We thought the tiger was inside. Who knew that after we rushed in we found that it wasn't the case. It was a man and a woman who were having an affair inside." After listening to the report, the county deputy immediately frowned and looked very unhappy. This kind of thing was indeed immoral. Although it was normal for men and women to have sex, it was fine if they did it at home, but to run out into the bushes and make it known to everyone, it was really not good. This would only spread the obscenity of the entire society. At this time, someone immediately added, "Deputy County Magistrate, these two people not only did indecent things, but also committed incest. One is her sister-in-law, and the other is her niece's son-in-law. Do you think two people with such status can mess around here?" After hearing this, the county deputy's face darkened immediately. His displeased gaze fell on Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui, who were in the grass. Needless to say, this kind of thing was indeed incestuous, and the heavens would not tolerate it. If these two people were to be indulged, wouldn't society be corrupted by them in the future? The people around were discussing secretly. Since the deputy county magistrate was angry, it was estimated that Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan would not have a good time. If they were really to be held accountable, the two of them would be drowned in a pig's cage. Someone wanted to see a vixen like Zhao Xinhui be punished, so he deliberately raised his voice and muttered, "This kind of incestuous person must be punished properly. Otherwise, who knows if it will affect the other people in the village in the future." Who knew that these things would happen again? Zhao Xinhui had a bitter face and complained to Qin Yuan. He whispered in Qin Yuan's ear, "Hey, I told you not to mess around. If we go back to my room today we'll be found out. Why should we be punished now? It's all your fault." The county magistrates Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui didn't seem to be repentant at all. It was obviously unrealistic to ask them to suggest a suitable punishment. The county magistrate simply asked the others. Seeing that the county magistrate took the initiative to ask, the villagers didn't let go of the opportunity and began to talk. "County magistrate, I think it's not enough for each of them to be beaten 100 strokes of the cane." 100 strokes of the cane? Don't joke, 100 strokes of the cane would kill them. I think 50 strokes of the cane are enough. Chapter 2274. Yes, they should be beaten to death. We can't let these people continue to harm the village. They've ruined the culture of our village. If this matter is spread out, our village will be disgraced. Shouldn't they be drowned in a pig cage for committing adultery? Yes, drowned in a pig cage. Deputy County Magistrate, please directly put these two people into a pig cage, so that they won't continue to harm the village. The villagers talked about drowning in a pig cage one after another, and the Deputy County Magistrate's eyebrows knitted together. He still valued human life, so he wouldn't easily punish people for murder unless it was under special circumstances. At this time, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan were so scared that their legs had already turned to jelly. Drowned in a pig cage? Then wouldn't they die? They were still so young, and now that the restaurant's business was good, they could slowly live a good life. How could they be willing to die now? If they died, they would lose everything. Then what was the point of pursuing so much before? Qin Yuan was so scared that he wet his pants, and his face was abnormally pale. Zhao Xinhui was so scared that she cried. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and whispered to Xianhuan, "Woo woo woo Xianhuan, I don't want to die. I'm still so young, I don't want to die." Xianhuan also cried and said, I don't want to die either." "Woo woo woo. Deputy County Magistrate, you won't really put us into a pig cage, right? How uncomfortable would it be to be drowned alive? If you really have to die, then you should die quickly. You can't die so painfully." No, we won't drown in a pig cage." Xianhuan held Zhao Xinhui's hand and said seriously. He was comforting Zhao Xinhui and himself at the same time. At this time, after hearing the news, Zhao Wentao hurriedly ran to the front yard to inform old Zhao's family. Meanwhile, Xuanhuan was sitting in Zhao Yun'er's house eating melon seeds. Mother? Zhao Wentao anxiously called out to Xuanhuan. By the time he arrived in front of Xuanhuan, he was already panting from exhaustion. It was as if he couldn't catch his breath. Xuanhuan spat out the shell of the sunflower seed in her mouth. She glanced at Zhao Wentao and replied indifferently, "What are you shouting for? Look at how anxious you are. What can happen?" After Zhao Wentao took a few deep breaths, he pulled Xuanhua's hand and dragged her out of the house. He said to Xuanhuan, "Mother, quickly go to the back of the house. Something big has happened." Xuanhuan slapped Zhao Wentao's hand away and said calmly, "Isn't it just a tiger? What was there to look at? A large group of people gathered together and they still wanted to fight a tiger? How dangerous is that? You haven't seen a tiger before, so you don't know how powerful it is. Anyway, I won't foolishly throw my life away like you guys. It's safer to sit in the house." Big Sister Ping, it's useless for you to be anxious now. The county magistrate has the final say on how to punish the two of them. Zhao Ping, felt a little regretful at this moment. "If I had known, I wouldn't have let others know. I can't live without Big Brother Yuan." Ma Xiaofeng took a deep breath. "Big Sister Ping, don't be so disheartened. Xianhuan did such a thing to you. Why are you still thinking about him? There are so many men in this world. He's not the only one. His heart isn't with you anymore. Why don't you find another one?" Chapter 2276. Sister Ping, when the birthmark and freckles on your face are cured, you will become a great beauty. You also have a restaurant and can earn so much money. Are you afraid that you can't find a good-looking man? I think you should stop thinking about Xianhuan. It's not worth it." Zhao Ping lowered her head and said with grievance, "I just like Brother Yuan. I just miss him in my heart. I don't like other men." Ma Xiaofeng found that she couldn't communicate with Zhao Ping. No matter how much this useless woman said, it was useless. In her opinion, Zhao Ping was a masochist. Xianhuan treated her like this. Why was she still reluctant to let go of this man? Let's wait and see. We will know how the magistrate will punish them." Ma Xiaofeng patted Zhao Ping's shoulder and comforted her. When Xuanhuan arrived at the backyard of Zhao Yun'er's house and saw the situation in front of her, she immediately cried and shouted, "Magistrate, please be merciful and let our Ping go. She is not sensible and I will teach her well when we go back. I only have one daughter. If she is drowned in a pig cage, I can't live on." The magistrate glanced at Xuanhuan lightly and saw that Xuanhua's old mother was crying pitifully. Although he didn't say anything, he was moved in his heart. The villagers were clamoring to drown Zhao Xinhui and Xianhuan in a pig cage. He pondered for a while and thought that it was too cruel. Nowadays, the Zhou country was more civilized than before. Drowning in a pig cage was rare. At most, they would give some punishment. Zhao Wentao also pleaded for leniency. "County deputy, my sister is usually not sensible. What happened today was really wrong, but the punishment of being drowned in a pig cage is too severe. County deputy, please show mercy and spare their lives." Old Zhao's family pleaded for leniency, and the surrounding villagers were not afraid of making a big deal out of it. How could they be willing to let Zhao Xinhui and Xianhuan off so easily? "Aya, you're already a grown-up girl, yet you're still saying that you're insensible. Who are you trying to impress? If you didn't teach him well in the past, you have to bear the responsibility now. Don't even think about trying to absolve yourself. These two people should be drowned in a pig cage." That's right. How could the old Zhao family not know that their sister-in-law and niece-in-law are together? Since you all know and still indulge in it, you don't have the face to beg for mercy. No wonder I saw the two of them acting weird when I passed by old Zhao's courtyard. It turns out they've been together for a long time. I don't know what old Zhao's family is thinking. They don't even know how to comfort them. Especially this old Zhao. Her daughter did something seductive and she didn't even educate her properly. Look at what happened now. Serves them right. Hearing old Zhao's family pleading for leniency and hearing the villagers' words, the county deputy felt a little embarrassed. Li Zheng, who was standing on the side, saw the county deputy's embarrassment, so he suggested to the county deputy, "Sir, it's really not right for these two people to be together. But you can ask Ping Er's opinion first. She's the one who was hurt the most. Xuanhuan is her husband, so you can ask her if she forgives her husband's behavior. If she forgives him, then the punishment can be reduced." The county deputy's suggestion was very reasonable, so he asked someone to invite Zhao Ping. Chapter 2277. In order to avoid Xuanhuan's punishment, Zhao Ping could only push all the blame to Zhao Xinhui. No matter how the magistrate punished Zhao Xinhui, it had nothing to do with her. Anyway, she didn't care. If the Xuanhuan wasn't punished and Zhao Xinhui was killed, she would be happier. Without her sister-in-law, the vixen, Xuanhuan would belong to her alone. Moreover, she could get rid of her sister-in-law and the Xuanhuan couldn't blame her. After all, she did this for the Xuanhuan. How could the Xuanhuan blame her? Zhao Ping continued to complain tearfully, "Magistrate, if you want to punish someone, punish my sister-in-law alone. It was my sister-in-law who seduced my husband on purpose. She shamelessly threw herself at him and my husband couldn't refuse. If my sister-in-law had behaved properly, my husband wouldn't have done such a dirty thing. If you want to punish someone, the one who seduced him must be severely punished. Magistrate, you're so wise. You can't punish my husband." After Zhao Ping finished complaining tearfully, xuanhuan, who was beside her, suddenly exploded. She was so angry that she directly rushed to Zhao Ping and scratched Zhao Ping with her black claws. She scolded while scratching, "You wicked girl. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? You only know how to protect your husband. Is this Xuanhuan more important than your sister-in-law?" When Zhao Ping saw Xuanhuan's claws coming, she was so scared that she hurriedly dodged. If she hadn't dodged in time, her face would have been scratched by Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan didn't catch anything. She was unwilling to give up, so she stretched out her claws and continued to scratch Zhao Ping. At this moment she finally grabbed Zhao Ping's hair and scolded Zhao Ping, "Bitch, who told you to talk nonsense? Let's see how I'll punish you." Xuanhuan's hands were heavy, pulling Zhao Ping's head so hard that it was about to fall off. Zhao Ping screamed in pain. "Ah, murder! Help! My grandmother wants to kill me." Zhao Ping was also not a kind person. Since Xuanhuan was making trouble for her, she simply made trouble too. After the screams, the surrounding villagers all felt that Xuanhuan had gone too far. His daughter was a human being and he treated her like a treasure. Was his granddaughter not a human being? She hit so hard, wasn't she afraid of killing someone? Xuanhuan's eyes were clouded with a layer of haze. She continued to spit at Zhao Ping and scolded her, "Bitch, you still have the nerve? Today I'll skin you alive. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll forget that your surname is Zhao, not Qin. For a stinky man, you're slandering your aunt. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" A piece of Zhao Ping's hair was directly torn off and fell to the ground. Looking at the bloody mess, Zhao Ping felt that she was in so much pain that she couldn't breathe. Wasn't this old woman too cruel? She forcefully tore off her hair. Her hair was so precious. Wouldn't she become bald if her hair was torn off? Which woman could stand it? Originally, Zhao Ping didn't want to hit Xuanhuan. Now she couldn't hold it anymore and directly fought with Xuanhuan. Chapter 2278. Xuanhuan was also scratched painfully and couldn't stand it. She was old, so her physical strength couldn't keep up. No matter how fierce she was, she couldn't be as fierce as Zhao Ping. After all, Zhao Ping was much stronger than her. The onlookers saw that the two people were fighting very hard, so they were also very interested. They hadn't seen such a lively scene in the village for many years. Now they were all excited to watch the show for fear of missing any details. Seeing that Zhao Ping was hitting her, Xuanhuan fought back with more strength. The two people were wrestling with each other, and they almost stabbed each other to death with their knives. They screamed miserably as they fought. After a while, the county magistrate's face had already darkened. In front of him, the two people were so excessive that they directly fought with each other. Didn't they completely look down on him, the county magistrate? The county magistrate's face was cold and he scolded Zhao Ping and Xuanhuan, "Stop it." When he shouted for the first time, the two people were still wrestling with each other, and they didn't want to let go. After seeing this, the county magistrate was very angry, and he continued to scold them in a muffled voice. "Did you hear what I said? Stop it right now. If you don't stop, don't blame me for bringing you to the yamen." The county magistrate also reminded them at the right time, and he said to Zhao Ping'er and Xuanhuan sternly, "Did you two hear that? Do you want to ignore the county magistrate? I think you two are so bold that you're not afraid of being arrested and brought to the yamen, right?" Zhao Ping'er and Xuanhuan finally calmed down. They were ordinary people, how dare they go to the yamen? If the deputy district magistrate got angry, they would really lose their lives. After Zhao Ping'er let go of Xuanhuan, she hurriedly knelt in front of the county magistrate, and she cried with an aggrieved face, "County magistrate, you have to do justice for me. I was just speaking the truth just now. Look at how my grandmother actually hit me. She even used such a heavy hand on me. County magistrate, what I said is the truth. My aunt is a vixen, and she seduced my husband a long time ago. If you want to punish my aunt, punish her severely and give my husband a lighter punishment." Seeing that Zhao Ping'er was on her husband's side, it meant that she forgave Xuanhuan for what they had done. As his wife, she didn't pursue it, so the punishment of Xuanhuan naturally wouldn't be too severe. Xuanhua glared at Zhao Ping'er fiercely and then complained to the county deputy. "County magistrate, don't listen to this girl's nonsense. It's obvious that the guy from Xuanhuan took a fancy to our Huier first, and he kept seducing her. Our Huier was fascinated by him. So the punishment should be heavier on the guy from Xuanhuan, and it should be lighter on our Huier, who asked him to seduce her first. If he didn't pester our Huier wouldn't have done such a thing." The county magistrate saw that Zhao Ping'er and Xuanhua both had their own opinions. One of them put the blame on Xuanhuan, while the other put the blame on Zhao Xinhui. Before the truth was made clear, the county magistrate couldn't determine who the culprit was. "You two tell me the reason. If one of you is the one who took the initiative and the other one is the passive one." Chapter 2279. The deputy county magistrate directly threw this question to Xuanhuan and Zhao Xinhui, asking them to answer it themselves. Zhao Xinhui and Xuanhuan looked at each other. Obviously, as long as they betrayed the other person would receive a lighter punishment. Zhao Xinhui hurriedly poked Xuanhuan, hinting Xuanhuan to make it clear. "Xuanhuan, I didn't like you at first. It was you who kept pestering me. After you kept pestering me, I slowly started to consider you and be with you. Don't forget. Now that the deputy county magistrate asks you this question, hurry up and say that you seduced me. Then I won't be drowned in a pig cage." Normally, Xuanhuan felt that he could protect Zhao Xinhui. However, at this time, Xuanhuan found that he couldn't do it. After all, he was too afraid of death, or he didn't love Zhao Xinhui that deeply. What if he said that he seduced Zhao Xinhui and was about to be drowned in a pig cage? He was still so young. He was only in his 20s, which was the time when he was young and vigorous. If he was so poor that he couldn't see any hope in the past, it would be fine. Now that he had finally opened the restaurant and his life was getting better and better, how could he be willing to die at this time? No. He had to live well. No matter how important Zhao Xinhui was to him, she was just a woman after all. His own life was more important. He had to keep his life so that he could live a good life in the future. After he had money, he could have any beautiful woman he wanted. It wasn't only Zhao Xinhui who couldn't have them. After thinking and struggling for a while, Xuanhuan finally decided not to tell the truth. Instead, he said to the deputy county magistrate, "Sir, neither of us seduced the other. We really love each other and got together. Sir, if you want to punish us, we are willing to accept it. But don't punish me severely." Xuanhuan's voice was trembling. He was so scared that he didn't dare to look into the eyes of the deputy county magistrate. Zhao Xinhui was a little unhappy. She glared at Xuanhuan and questioned Xuanhuan, "Xuanhuan, why don't you tell the truth? Do you have to make me suffer with you before you are happy? If you tell the truth, I can reduce your punishment. What are you trying to do?" Xuanhuan said with a bitter face, "Hui, can't we share the joys and sorrows together? Why do you want the other person to be punished more severely?" Zhao Xinhui rolled her eyes. "Xuanhuan, are you still a man? I'm a woman. You keep saying that you like me and want to protect me. Isn't your chance here now? As long as you talk to the county magistrate, I can receive a lighter punishment." However, Xuanhuan said, If I say it, what if I get drowned in a pig cage? If I die, I'll leave you alone? Who will county magistrate? Who loves you? Don't you also like me? Wouldn't it be better for us to walk together? Why are you still arguing with me at this time?" "Wait, you don't like me, do you?" Zhao Xinhui said angrily. "Xuanhuan, I don't care if you are drowned in a pig cage. As long as I don't get drowned in a pig cage because of you. You are so interesting. Why do you want to drag me down with you when you die?" Xuanhuan didn't expect Zhao Xinhui to say that. In the face of life and death, Xuanhuan realized that the so-called love between the two of them was not enough. Chapter 2280. Although he felt the same way, Xuanhuan was still a little disappointed with Zhao Xinhui. Thinking about how he treated Zhao Xinhui with all his heart, he wanted to leave everything good for Zhao Xinhui. However, he had never asked about Zhao Ping'er. Sometimes his attitude towards Zhao Ping'er was very bad. However, compared to Zhao Xinhui, Zhao Ping'er obviously loved him more. Xuanhuan thought of what Zhao Ping'er said a long time ago. For him, she could sacrifice her life. In other words, to Zhao Ping'er, he was more important than herself. Just now, no one stood up to defend him. Only Zhao Ping'er stood on his side without hesitation and spoke up for him. Even though Zhao Ping'er knew that he had ended up like this because he had an affair with Zhao Xinhui, Zhao Ping'er still didn't argue with him. He had clearly done something wrong to her and made her sad. However, Zhao Ping'er didn't care about any of this at all. She only cared about him. If it was in the past, Xuanhuan probably wouldn't have cared. However, at this time he suddenly felt that Zhao Ping'er's selfless dedication was really rare and precious. And a strange feeling emerged in his heart towards Zhao Ping'er. In this world, the woman he loved was not as good as the woman who loved him. Zhao Xinhui was obviously more heartless for him, yet he still foolishly loved Zhao Xinhui and refused to let go. Seeing the aggressive Zhao Xinhui, Xuanhuan opened his mouth and suddenly felt a little funny. So you don't want to die with me? Didn't we say that we would grow old together and live and die together? Have you forgotten our promise so quickly? Zhao Xinhui replied impatiently, those were all lies. Did you take them seriously? Qin Sheng, hurry up and tell the county magistrate that you seduced me. Anyway, don't implicate me. Xuanhuan was silent for a while. Finally, he slowly opened his mouth and looked at the county magistrate. County magistrate, I was the one who took the first step in this matter. I was the one who took a fancy to my aunt and asked her to confess her love. All of this happened because of me. If you want to punish me, please punish me severely. I hope the county magistrate can spare my aunt. When Xuanhuan said this, his heart turned cold. From now on, she didn't owe Zhao Xinhui anything and didn't want to be with Zhao Xinhui anymore. If they were still together in the future, then their sweet nothings could only be said to be very fake and disgusting. When they were whispering sweet nothings to each other, wasn't everything that happened today a mockery? After hearing Xuanhuan's words, Zhao Ping'er's heart thumped loudly. She muttered in her heart, it's over, it's over, it's over now. If the county magistrate really mercilessly punished her brother Yuan, then would he die? She finally got married with great difficulty and married such a handsome husband. She didn't want to be a widow at such a young age. Xuanhuan heaved a heavy sigh of relief. Since Xuanhuan took the responsibility, then her huier's punishment would be much lighter. Xuanhuan curved the corners of her mouth and said to the county magistrate, Deputy District Magistrate, you heard it now, right? It was that brat Xuanhuan who seduced my daughter first. Wasn't my daughter captivated by his fair and clean skin? Otherwise, she wouldn't have done such a foolish thing. Chapter 2281. After hearing Xuanhuan's words, Zhao Ping'er could only look at Xuanhuan anxiously. Her big brother Yuan was really stupid. At this time, why did he still not care about her and still want to speak up for Zhao Xinhui? Zhao Xinhui, that *tch, did not have any conscience at all. Once she thought that Xuanhuan might be severely punished, or even lose his life, Zhao Ping'er felt her whole body go limp, and she could not muster up any strength. Zhao Ping'er also followed Xuanhua's example. She knelt down in front of the county magistrate and pleaded tearfully, My lord, I beg you to punish my husband lightly. If you want to blame someone, blame it on me. I'm too ugly. As long as it's a man, he definitely won't be able to accept my appearance. It's already very noble of my husband to be willing to marry me. I'm very touched. I can understand why he went to find another woman. If my appearance was slightly better, my husband would definitely not be like this. My lord, although he was bewitched for a moment and got together with another woman, he treats me extremely well. So I hope that my lord can be merciful and let my husband off lightly. Zhao Ping'er's words opened the eyes of the surrounding villagers. They did not expect that there would be a woman who was so stupid. Not only did she not make a fuss about her husband's affair with another woman, but she even protected him like this. There was no other woman like her in 10 miles and 8 villages. While they felt that Zhao Ping'er had other things to do, they also felt that Zhao Ping'er was somewhat sad and helpless. In this relationship, Zhao Ping'er thought too lowly of herself because of her appearance. Instead, she thought of Xuanhuan as her sky. At this time, Zhao Ping first took the responsibility on herself. She was considerate of Qin Yuan in all aspects, and then she pleaded for Qin Yuan's mercy. Aside from the fact that she was a weirdo, there weren't many women who were more sincere than Zhao Ping. If it weren't for Zhao Ping's ugly appearance, wouldn't it be a happy thing to be able to marry such a woman, who would protect and care for men? Qin Yuan's heart was not made of iron, although he had no feelings for Zhao Ping. Even when he married Zhao Ping, it was because Zhao Ping gave him a large dowry. In addition, their family was poor, so they really couldn't find any suitable girls. Under the arrangement of his parents, he finally agreed to marry Zhao Ping. Although he and Zhao Ping had done it as husband and wife, it was completely to satisfy his physiological needs. In his heart he had never loved Zhao Ping. But today when he saw how Zhao Ping treated him, Qin Yuan suddenly felt a lump in his throat. Everyone reprimanded him, rolled their eyes at him, and even the woman he loved could push him away for his sake. However, only Zhao Ping pleaded for him in front of the county magistrate. He suddenly realized that in this world, except for his parents, only Zhao Ping treated him the best. Only Zhao Ping truly loved him. Compared to Zhao Xinhui's words that made his heart cold, Qin Yuan suddenly felt that Zhao Ping was much better than Zhao Xinhui. Qin Yuan's eyes were red, and at the same time he swore in his heart that if he could survive today and save his life, he would definitely treat Zhao Ping well in the future. He might not fall in love with her, but he would definitely treat this woman well. Because only in this way could he live up to his conscience and be worthy of Zhao Ping's sacrifice for him. Ma Xiaofeng looked at them and secretly shook her head. She almost directly scolded Zhao Ping for being a fool. She was afraid that she would make the deputy unhappy and implicate Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Ping also looked at Qin Yuan worriedly. Brother Yuan's body had always been thin and not very good. She didn't know if he could withstand the 50 paddles. But she didn't have any way to make Lord Li Zheng's punishment be lighter. She could only pray that Qin Yuan could withstand it this time. As long as he could stay alive, the injuries on his body could slowly heal in the future. Now they were not like the past where they didn't have money to treat their injuries. Now that they had money, they could buy those precious herbs and tonics to nourish their bodies. The county magistrate didn't delay. He sent people to punish Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui on the spot. Chapter 2283. However, the villagers did not sympathize with Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui. Instead, they treated this as a show to watch. It was just that the punishment was too light and they did not find it exciting. In their opinion, Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui should be sent to the pig cage for committing incest. After dozens of floggings, Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan did not end up well. Both of their buttocks were bleeding from the flogging, especially Qin Yuan. He was fair and tender to begin with. Now that he had suffered 50 floggings, his buttocks were already badly mutilated. As for Zhao Xinhui, he fainted from the pain after the 20th flogging because he was not feeling well earlier. However, the remaining 10 floggings did not fall. After the punishment was carried out, xuanhuan rushed forward and hugged Zhao Xinhui. She cried and shouted, what's wrong with you? Don't scare your mother. Wake up, hurry and wake up. However, Zhao Xinhui did not react in her arms. If anything happens to you, your mother doesn't want to live anymore. Hurry and wake up, you're my only daughter. No matter what, you can't leave your mother alone. Xuanhuan cried as if she was at a funeral. She hugged Zhao Xinhui and cried bitterly. The people around them could not help but shake their heads when they saw Xuanhuan crying like this. Although it was tragic, they did not sympathize. After all, Zhao Xinhui deserved it. If he had not done such a thing in the first place, he would not have ended up like this. As for Xuanhuan, it was because she did not educate her son and daughter well that they suffered so much. If only Xuanhuan had taught them better, they would not have ended up like this. Meanwhile, Zhao Baoshan stood in the crowd and listened to the chatter around him. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. He had lost all his face. How could he continue to live in the village after causing such a big mess? Unfortunately, that old woman of his was a troublemaker. She didn't stop now and continued to cause trouble. She wasn't afraid that people would laugh at her. Zhao Baoshan walked towards Xuanhuan with a sullen face and scolded Xuanhuan in a low voice. You still have the face to shout? Why don't you shut up and wait for the people around you to laugh at you? Xuanhuan raised her head and replied unhappily, Old man, do you still have a conscience? Our daughter is already like this. It's fine if you don't cry, but you still came over to talk about me. Face, all you know is face. Is your daughter's life not as important as your face? If something happens to won't you feel sad at all? Zhao Baoshan was also a little unhappy. He snorted softly and said, she's suffering the consequences of her own actions. Today it's all because you, as her mother, have spoiled her. I already said that Xuanhuan's brat was no good. You had to matchmake them. Wasn't it just because you were interested in his money? Isn't it great now? You caused such a mess. Not only is there no hope, but you also caused our daughter to become like this. Old woman, when will you reflect on yourself? Don't just focus on shouting. Will that solve the problem? Xuanhuan met Zhao Baoshan's gloomy face. She was just short of fighting with Zhao Baoshan. Usually because Zhao Baoshan was the man in charge of the family, she could give in to him. But now, because of Zhao Xinhui, he was about to go crazy. How could he care so much? No one could say a word now. If anyone did, she would fight them to the death. However, he actually met a woman like Zhao Ping'er who sacrificed for him without hesitation. Zhao Ping'er saw that Xuanhuan's voice had become weak, and his face was pale. She hurriedly comforted Xuanhuan and said, Big brother Yuan, don't talk anymore. Otherwise your body won't be able to take it. As for why I sacrifice for you, that's my business. I'm happy to do so. Chapter 2285. Xuanhuan was extremely touched by Zhao Ping'er's words, and Zhao Ping'er's words made him feel even more guilty for his previous actions. From now on, Zhao Ping'er was his wife. She treated him like this and protected him, so he must also treat her well. You silly woman? Xuanhuan said with a choked voice. Big brother Yuan, I'm not silly. Although I'm a little ugly, my mind is very clear. I know what I'm doing and what I want. For you, everything is worth it. As long as big brother Yuan is fine. And? Xuanhuan responded weakly. On the other hand, Zhao Ping'er pulled Xuanhuan and said, Big brother Yuan, I'll get my father and the others to carry you back, and then I'll get Dr. Sun to take a look at your injuries. Your injuries are too severe, so you must hold on. Xuanhuan nodded heavily and responded. No matter what, he must live well. As long as he didn't lose his life this time, he would live a good life with Zhao Ping'er in the future. Zhao Ping'er called a few of old Zhao's uncles over and first carried Xuanhuan into Zhao Yun'er's house. Although old Zhao's family didn't like Xuanhuan was Zhao Ping'er's man after all. His life was at stake, so they still had to take it seriously. Dr. Sun first looked at Zhao Xinhui's injuries. Because Zhao Xinhui's physique was poor, and her body hadn't recovered from the previous injuries, she suffered another 30 strikes this time. She almost couldn't hold on. But fortunately, she managed to keep her life. In the future, she probably wouldn't be able to lie in bed to recuperate for more than half a year. When xuanhuan heard that her injuries were so serious, she almost fainted from fright. In the end, she couldn't help but wail loudly. Her heart ached for Zhao Xinhui. She kept muttering about how her daughter had such a hard life, committing so many crimes in a row. Today's incident had come to Xuanhuan. If it hadn't been for the collusion of Xuanhuan, her daughter wouldn't have been punished like this. Old Zhao's family understood the situation and saw through it clearly. This matter was not entirely the fault of Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan clearly knew about the relationship between Xuanhuan and Zhao Xinhui, but she still allowed them to interact with each other. Who could be blamed for this? Now that something had happened, Xuanhuan also had to bear some responsibility. She couldn't put all the blame on others. After Dr. Sun finished treating Zhao Xinhui's injuries, he went to check on Xuanhuan. Compared to Zhao Xinhui, Xuanhuan's situation was slightly better. However, the situation was also not good, and he had to rest in bed for a while. After the incident, things gradually calmed down. The villagers gossiped together for a while, and then their attention was focused on today's wedding. Zhao Yun'er had been busy in the kitchen. Even if Xuanhuan and Zhao Xinhui were caught having an affair on the spot, Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to take a look. Zhao Yun'er had already expected that the filthy matter of these two weirdos being together would be exposed. It was in front of Zhao Qian'an's wedding that these things happened, which made Zhao Yun'er feel very uncomfortable. It was originally a very good wedding, but it was ruined by these two people's affairs. She couldn't help but feel a little upset. The most important thing was that the county magistrate gave her face and came to her house to attend the banquet. Originally he wanted to watch the fun, but in the end he found that he was watching a joke. Zhao Yun'er didn't know how she should face the county magistrate later. After all, she had caused him trouble, so she felt guilty. Chapter 2286. The villagers who were originally in Zhao Yun'er's courtyard to join in the fun all squeezed into Mulan's courtyard. Zhao Tianan jumped down from the horse's back. His red wedding dress was extraordinary and carried a sense of grandeur. Many of the young girls present were fascinated by Zhao Tianan, and feelings of admiration for Zhao Tianan grew in their hearts. The matchmaker in front of the wedding procession raised her voice and shouted, indicating that the groom was coming to pick up the bride. At this time, Mu Hin, who had been sitting in the house for a long time, was a little excited as she tugged at the corner of her clothes. Her heart could not calm down. When she thought of her husband coming to pick her up after marrying Zhao Tianan, her heart could not help but become restless. She was even looking forward to it. She could not wait to rush out of the house and see Zhao Tianan's outfit today. Mulan also returned to the house. She walked to Mu Hin and helped Mu Hin up. She said to Mu Hin with some reluctance, "Xin, the wedding procession is here. You should go." "Sister." Mu Hin held Mulan's hand tightly and was very reluctant to part with her. After marriage she would be a member of the Zhao family. Even if they were still together, their status would be different. Mulan knew what Mu Hin meant. She patted Mu Hin's hand and said, "Let's go. Don't let the groom wait too long. You didn't see how handsome the bridegroom is today. Everyone outside is praising him for his good looks. They are saying that you are lucky to be able to marry such a man." After hearing Mulan's words, Mu Hin's heart was even more expectant. Her Tianan, what did her bridegroom look like today? "Let's go." Mulan urged again. Even if she was reluctant, she still had to go out. As soon as the bride walked out, her slim figure and beautiful wedding dress instantly attracted everyone's attention. Now that the bride and groom stood together, they felt that they were a perfect match. "XNXN," Zhao Tianan called out excitedly. Mu Hin also responded shyly. "Get on the palanquin." With the help of the matchmaker, Mu Hin was brought into the bridal sedan. The welcoming team continued their journey and circled around the village before finally returning to Zhao Yun'er's house. Zhao Yun'er took a breath and came out of the kitchen to join in the fun. For her, it was very rare for her to see a happy occasion for her family. She should watch and remember this scene. She should remember all the happy moments in her heart. According to the procedure, Mu Hin was the last to be sent into the house. Zhao Yun'er went back to the kitchen and continued to work. Seeing such a lively scene, the deputy district magistrate finally got rid of his unhappy mood. "Daddy, it's so lively," Lan Xian said sweetly with a smile on his face. The county deputy's serious face showed a touch of warmth. He smiled and touched Lan Xian's head, replying, "It's indeed lively. Xian, do you like to watch lively scenes?" Then in the future, Daddy will bring Xian to watch such a lively scene together." Lan Xian nodded excitedly in response. After a while, the preparations for the banquet in Zhao Yun'er's house were in full swing. The people who came to attend the banquet found their seats and sat down, waiting for the banquet to start. Liang Jinxiao's relatives also came. The Liang family was reluctant to let go of such a lively scene. The whole family could eat and drink together. However, on such a big day for Zhao Tianan, Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to care so much. Chapter 2287. The banquet lasted for a few hours before it was finally over. Zhao Yun'er ate a few mouthfuls of food to fill her stomach. After she was done with her work, her body couldn't take it anymore. She went straight back to the house and lay on the bed to rest. She was mainly responsible for cooking. She didn't need to do anything else. Others could do it for her. If there was a good chef, Zhao Yun'er wouldn't have to be so tired. She didn't have to organize every banquet herself. But there probably wouldn't be any big happy occasion later. Even if there was, she would just call a chef back. Mu Lianfeng was eating at the banquet. When he saw Zhao Yun'er dragging her tired body back to the house, he followed her. "Aren't you going to eat?" Zhao Yun'er asked when she saw the door open and Mu Lianfeng walk in. "I'm almost done eating, so I came to see you. You must be tired today, right?" Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yun'er with eyes full of heartache. Zhao Yun'er smiled. She was afraid that Mu Lianfeng would be worried, so she said, "I'm okay. I'm a little tired, but I can handle it." Mu Lianfeng couldn't help but shake his head. He felt sorry for her and nagged, Sometimes you just love to toss around too much. You could have invited a chef over today. Then you wouldn't have to be so tired." Zhao Yun'er pursed her lips. "Tianan's marriage is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I have to take it seriously. I'll only feel better after tiring myself out for a day and making the banquet presentable." Mu Lianfeng leaned in front of Zhao Yun'er dotingly. He put his hands on Zhao Yun'er's shoulders and said, "Let me give you a massage. It'll make you feel better." Zhao Yun'er didn't refuse. She let Mu Lianfeng massage her. Mu Lianfeng's massage soothed the soreness in her shoulders. Sometimes you just don't know how to take care of yourself. How can I leave you here alone after I leave?" Mu Lianfeng sighed helplessly. He was a little worried about the situation after he left. "Don't worry, I'm not a child anymore. I can still take care of myself. I'll come back as soon as possible. I hope I can stay by your side and take care of you." "Alright, then come back as soon as you're done. Our family will be together forever." "Alright." Zhao Yun'er lay on the bed for a long time and was too lazy to get up. As for the banquet, she didn't have to clean it up because there were other people helping her. When the deputy magistrate was about to leave, Zhao Yun'er came out to see him off. "Big sister Yun'er, your house is so fun. It's much livelier than mine. If only I could stay at your house and play." Lan Xian was reluctant to leave. But his parents were leaving, so he could only obediently follow them back. "If you have time, you can come over and play." Zhao Yun'er smiled. Lan Xian lowered his head. "Father is so busy every day. I don't think he can accompany me to play often." Seeing Lan Xian's disappointed look, Zhao Yun'er felt a little distressed. Then she said to the deputy magistrate and his wife, "If sir and madam don't have time to come to my house, you can send Xian'er over to stay for a few days. Although my house isn't as luxurious as the deputy magistrate's mansion, the basic conditions are not bad. I'll definitely take good care of Xian'er." When Lan Xian heard Zhao Yun'er's words, he looked at his parents with anticipation. Chapter 2288. Zhao Yun'er smiled politely and said, "It's no trouble at all. I've taught many children. Now that Xian'er is here, I can let them play together and take care of him together." The county deputy's wife smiled and nodded. If it was someone else, she would probably be worried. However, after interacting with Zhao Yun'er, the county deputy's wife knew that Zhao Yun'er was reliable. If she left Xian'er with Zhao Yun'er, the county deputy's wife believed that Zhao Yun'er could take good care of him. However, her son had never left her side. If he left for a few days, she didn't know if she would be reluctant to part with him. However, when she saw Xian'er's expectant face and how happy he was when he was watching the fun at Zhao Yun'er's house, she felt that as long as Xian'er was happy, it was the most important thing. After sending off the county deputy's family, the other guests also went back one after another. In the end, only Zhao Yun'er's relatives were left. Her uncles and aunts were obviously reluctant to go back, and her second aunt's family was even more so. However, Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to chase them away. She simply went back to her room and ignored them. If they wanted to sit and watch the fun, then let them be. Anyway, she wouldn't let them stay overnight. Father, mother, big brother Yuan's injuries are truly too severe. He needs to recuperate properly for a period of time. I also have no way of bringing him back to the Qin family. Why don't we let big brother Yuan recuperate here for a period of time? Our house is just right that we don't mind moving to another room. Also, this house is well ventilated and bright. It's definitely better for him to stay in this house than the family Qin's low and shabby thatched hut. Zhao Ping'er went to Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao and discussed with them. Qin Yuan's body really couldn't be tormented anymore after he was hit 50 times with the paddle. The Shuilan village was quite a distance from the Zhao family. If they carried Qin Yuan on the carriage and went back on the bumpy journey, Qin Yuan's injuries would probably worsen. If something bad happened to Qin Yuan, it might endanger his life. Therefore, Zhao Ping'er had no choice but to take the risk seriously. However, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were put in a difficult position. They couldn't make the decision in this family. Everything depended on Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er and Zhao Ping'er were not on good terms, so how could she possibly agree to let Qin Yuan stay in the third branch to recuperate? In addition, the incident between Qin Yuan and Zhao Xinhui was really embarrassing. If the Qin Yuan stayed, the third branch would probably be laughed at. Therefore, while Zhao Yun'er might not agree, they were also a little unhappy. The uncles and aunts at the side chuckled and mocked Zhao Ping'er. Wu Zhenju covered his mouth and laughed sarcastically. "I say, Ping'er girl, you're really big-hearted. You've done such a shameful thing, seducing another man. Shouldn't you be happy now that you've been punished? Why do you still treasure him so much? Normal people aren't like you. It's not that second aunt wants to scold you, but sometimes you have to be more careful. Don't just focus on men. The more you stick to them, the more they think you're worthless and won't bother with you." Eldest Aunt Guocaixia was more reserved, but she also had the intention of mocking Zhao Ping'er. "That's right, Ping'er girl, sometimes you can't spoil your men like this. It will only make them more indulgent and do things that will let you down. You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.